Putin blatantly claims that Nazi ideology is alive and well in Russia. Okay.
What do you do about it? I mean, Hitler's been dead for 80 years. Nazi Germany no longer exists.
Is that true? Some people would deny this.
So, true. And so
True.
I think what you're saying is you want to extinguish or at least control Ukrainian nationalism, but how? How do you do that?
Okay, right off the bat, oh my God, this is also telling. Tucker Carlson is a friend to Nazis and has many Nazi audience members. The first thing Nazis like to do is deny that Nazis exist, right? This is back when like Lauren Southern and Dave Rubin did that interview where they were like, there are no white nationalists anymore. What are you talking about? When Lauren Southern was like objectively, straightforwardly a white nationalist, you know? They love to deny it. So even though the broad narrative from Russia about Ukraine has been one of denazification, Tucker Carlson doesn't want to acknowledge that Nazis are still a thing. Because if Tucker Carlson acknowledges that Nazis are a thing in Ukraine, it implies that Nazis and, what's more, denazification are both things and desirable things, respectively, over here in the States. If he accepts the Russian narrative that what they're doing in Ukraine is justified because they're trying to denazify it, he is implicitly suggesting to his filled with Nazis audience that denazification is actually a good and cool thing to do as a pretext for invasion, and he doesn't want that. So he opens by saying, Nazis, what are Nazis? Nazis are gone, Hitler's dead. We're just talking about Ukrainian nationalism. So do you understand what he's doing here? It's so revealing. It's so indicative, you know what I mean? The propaganda is inconsistent. It can't, like, you can't have both. You can't simultaneously maintain the illusion that Nazism's not a real thing. Ignore the fact that my fans are full of Nazis. Don't worry about, like, you can't do that and also go along with the general Russian line on denazification.
This question appears to be subtle. It is quite pesky. You say Hitler has been dead for so many years.
Oh no.
80 years. In fact, he is still here, alive, through a combination of Russian science and wizardry.
Oh, it's a meme. Okay, gotcha, it's a meme. That's unfortunate. Who linked this? I should ban you. So unfortunately, I actually really want to know what he said in a way that isn't a meme. You know, it doesn't change anything that I said about the framing presented by Tucker Carlson. Concluding again? Well, no, nothing that I concluded was incorrect. It refers to the earlier framing. I would like to know what Tucker Carlson said. He said that Nazism is alive and well in the Ukraine and the US. Did he say that? Because if he said that, that is, again, another thing that Tucker Carlson can... Because, again, from the, like, Dugin-esque Russian perspective, like, it is still useful to them in a propagandistic way to talk about other nations as though they're full of Nazis and we are denazifying them because we are like the legacy of the Soviets. We are the legacy of the Russian Empire. Like, you know, the Nazis invaded us. We must pay unto them what they did to us in kind. That kind of shit, right? When, of course, Russia is itself full of, like, Hitler particles, you know? He said Nazism is alive in all countries, but these countries combat it, unlike Ukraine. Then, again, that is really bad for Tucker Carlson's narrative. That's very, very funny. Couldn't Tucker pull off the lefties are the real Nazis line to agree with Putin? I don't think... Guys, I could be completely wrong on this, by the way. I don't think that's the line in Russia. I don't think that's like a bit that they do. I think that like Putin is meant to be the kind of like nationalist strongman who carries forward the legacy of people like Lenin or Stalin, but in, like, you know, kind of an abstract way. Like, he's very anti-communist, but at the same time, he was in power through the Soviet Union. There's almost like an apolitical bent towards nationalism there. Vladimir Putin is fascist and the nation of Russia is fascist, but I don't think they've adopted that line. The idea that, like, oh, well, actually National Socialist means that they were socialists, i.e. Nazis. It's just another way of indicating, I guess, that as many similarities as they might occasionally share, different nations' versions of fascism are going to carry very different, like, lines.